Today we're going to be looking at the scan feature on the TD Ameritrade ThinkOrSwim platform and how you can use it to scan for stocks with a specific criteria on the market overall. So to get started on this, you just click on the scan tab. On the scan tab, you're going to have the sub tabs that show up: stock hacker, options hacker, spread hacker, and of course the spread book. To get started, we'll start looking at the stock hacker here, and how you can use the different filters within different conditions to set up specific criteria. The first section is the setup scan section, which allows you to specify the conditions and the filters that you can use to run the scan here. You can either collapse or expand this section, and you have the search results, which displays the results that pop up after you run your scan. The first scan in you have here, you have an option to specify what the scan feature should scan through. So in this case, you can ask for it to scan through a particular category of stocks, indices, futures, or funds. Or if you wanted to set to all stocks, you can leave it as is. And if you wanted to scan a specific category of stocks and you wanted to add another category of stocks for it to scan both of them, you can choose to intersect it with that different category of stocks. So for instance, if you selected all indices on this first drop down here, you can then select all futures. That way you have the two lists selected, and of course the scan feature will basically scan through both the different categories and bring up the results that match the criteria you've basically set in this section. For this example, we'll just leave it as blank here, and if there's a list of stocks or a category of stocks you'd like to exclude from this, you can just simply specify that category or list in this drop down menu, which is pretty much the same as the previous two menus we talked about here. On the right side, you have your add conditions group, which allows you to add conditions within your search. So you have three conditions. You have all of the following, which I already have here, and then you have none of the following, which I have down here as well, and then any of the following, which is down here. Now you don't have to use all three conditions at once. You can use them as need be. So let me see here. I'll just go ahead and remove this condition and then remove any of the following condition as well, just to show you. So now I only have one condition, which is the all of the following, and the condition itself houses the different filters that you can use. So each and every one of those three conditions would have their respective filters that you can specify within them. So if you wanted to run one particular condition with its own set of filters, you can do that. In this case, I do have three filters already in place here, but the way that you add a filter to this is within each one of those conditions you have in place, you have an add filter button that you click on. Once you click on that, it allows you to select what type of filter you'd like to place under this condition. So since we're looking at the stock, click on stock and it shows you a new entry of a filter. I only had three filters before. Now I have a fourth one. I'm not going to use a fourth filter here. I'll go ahead and just X that out. I went ahead and used the filter, mark filter, which essentially shows the market price here. And once you select the filter you're going to use, you have the minimum value for that particular range that you'd want to filter through, and then you have the maximum value as well. You can manually enter your information here, or you can just click and drag this bar here left or right, and it will adjust these minimum and maximum values accordingly for you. Okay, and on the further right side, it shows you the number of matches you have for this particular range that you've selected. The other filter that I used here is the percentage change, which shows the percentage change that I want to look at for this particular search. The minimum value that I have is -7% to about 11% there. Now you can increase this percentage by dragging this bar here, or dragging it right or dragging it left. So drag it right here just to get a little bit more values in there. And the other filter that I use, the third filter that I use, is the market cap filter. So the market cap filter minimum value that I put was $57 billion to about, let's see, 2.5 trillion. So this is the range that I want to look at. Now I adjusted it a little bit for it to show about 31 billion to about 2.5 trillion, actually 2.5 trillion. Different filters have different matches. What this tool does is that it brings up stocks that meet all three criteria that you've specified here and gives you the respective results. Below that, you're going to have the show, which allows you to specify how many results you see at a time. You can specify 50, 200, or even more. We'll just keep it at 50 to keep things simple. And you can also sort the results by symbol, basic symbol. You can sort them by additional sorting methods, bid, close, high, last, and any one of these criteria that are available for you, stock fundamentals, or you can just stick to the classic ascending, descending type of sorting. Now, if you're ready to run that search and you do not want to put any additional filters here, you can simply hit scan. Okay, now that's going to scan all stocks and then give you the results that meet all three criteria here. Now you can see the result here, it's about 356 that meet this criteria here. Now if you wanted to refine these results a little bit more, you can use the additional conditions by saying none of the following, and in this section you can choose to specify exactly what to exclude for this particular search, and you can just click on add filter, stock, and then specify what filter you'd like to use to exclude some of the results that you see in here. That way you can refine your search a little bit more. The second part of this tool is going to be the options hacker, which allows you to scan for options, and it's similar to the stock hacker. The filters that I have pre-selected here is the options filter. So whenever you're going to add a filter within the options hacker, the difference between the options filter and the stock filter is you specify saying, okay, I'm going to be filtering or screening for stocks, and you specify the filter here. So in this case, I'm using options, so I'll just click on options and notice that it creates a new filter for me. Now I already have the three that I want, so I don't want to use any additional filters in this section. I'll go ahead and just exclude that. I do have the delta filter, which is filtering for options that have a delta between 0.37 and 1. The second filter that I have is the days to expiration, which is 124 days to about 365, which is a year, and the implied volatility. Implied volatility, I'm keeping it to about 100%. Implied volatility to about 600%. So I'll go ahead and click on scan since I do have my three filters. You can add additional filters. I'm not sure the maximum number of filters you can add within each condition. I think it should be about 12 maybe. Since I have my filters here, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and hit scan. All right, now notice it says 50 of 8,000 of my results. Now that's quite a lot of data to look at. So if you wanted to refine this search a little bit more here, you can use the none of the following condition to add additional filters. I'm going to go in there and see what filters I can add here. So I'll say option type and I'll say put. So the none of the following section allows you to exclude a particular set of stocks. You run that scan and then you get your results there. It basically excluded all the puts and it's just giving you the calls. And you can basically scroll through this. If 254 options is not too big of a number for you to look through and skim through, then you can essentially go ahead and look at that. But these results reflect everything that you've specified from these filters here. You can then add an additional filter in any of the following to show open interest. Okay, I typically use open interest because I only want to look at options that have a lot of open interest. Okay, so let's see here. Then I'm going to hit scan and see what we get. Okay, perfect. Now we have only about 11 that show up. So options that have an open interest between 1500 or 1553 all the way to 145.5 open interest are basically 11 of them, and they all meet these particular criteria that you've set here. If you wanted to adjust those numbers a little bit more, you can reduce the open interest here and see what you get. Use the spread hacker as well, which allows you to scan for respective spreads. It allows you to select what type of spreads you want to look at, whether you want to look at verticals, butterflies, iron condors, or all of them. It allows you to specify the category or list of stocks you'd like to scan from. It only has one of the conditions under the spread scanner. It only has all of the following, and then within that all of the following condition, you would then add the respective filters in there, and specify what range you'd like for that particular filter. So for the filter on the spread side of things, I did the probability of profit. So I did a minimum value of 70.86% to whatever max value we have here, say 99%. The delta values I stuck between minus 0.15 to 0.16, which is basically where the bulk of the data lies here. For the mark price, I did 0.275 to 1.36, and of course back volume. So back volume, let's see here, we can use days to expiration on this. Let's run that scan and see what we get. Okay, perfect. So it brings up all the spreads that meet this criteria that we've specified. At the very bottom, you have these results. It shows you what type of a spread that you're looking at, diagonal, vertical, or the calendars as well. It shows you the symbol of the stock, the expiration dates, the strike prices. Now, if you wanted to see only verticals, you can click on that, run the scan. It shows you verticals only. If you wanted to use diagonals, select diagonals, run the scan, it will show you diagonals only. The other option would be the spread book, which allows you to look at spreads for any stock that you search for on the market. I'll use AMD in this case and see what spreads were available for AMD. So it shows you the respective dates of these spreads. It shows you the type of spread that it is, whether it's a vertical, diagonal, iron condors, and things like that. It shows you the quantity as well, the symbols, expiration, strikes, and all that good data associated with your spreads. Thank you again for tuning in. If you gained some information from this, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and of course we'll be dropping some additional videos for you.